Chapter 33. Adagio stops by Gary and Tara's to drop off his cannoli recipe. Tara is planning to make the dish for her husband. He finds her in the backyard, wearing a wide-brimmed straw hat and gloves, trimming a large rose bush. "I really appreciate this, Adagio," she says, taking the card from him. Looking over the ingredients a moment, she slips it into her shirt pocket. "It is no trouble at all. I hope Gary likes it." "Well, since it is your recipe, I know he will, providing I get it right. I'm sure it will turn out great." Tara takes in Adagio's countenance, noticing the brightness in his eyes. "You've decided, haven't you? About Cicely, I mean." Adagio's taken aback by her perceptiveness. "Yes, I have. But how did you know?" She chuckles. "It's not very hard to figure out. I only have to look at your face, and it's obvious. I can tell Cicely cares a great deal for you, too. I can see it in her eyes every time you two are together. It's in her voice when we talk about you during our visits. I think she holds back a lot because she is afraid, but it's there in her every action." She pauses, smiling. "Gary and I talk about you a lot, and we've prayed that you would find the person you're meant to be with. And personally, I think Ingo would be happy to know his best friend has found happiness with the woman he loves so much. You two already spend so much time together. Cicely probably has come to depend on the comfort and security she gets from you. If you left, it would break her heart. You need each other." Adagio smiles, thinking about Cicely being a permanent part of his life. It is soon, and the emotions churning inside him are still fairly new, but his love for her runs deep, and right now he wants that permanence more than anything. It will bring him the happiness he has longed for. "I hope you're right. I don't think I've realized just how much I love her until now. Maybe it's because I've tried so hard not to, for fear of hurting my relationship with her and betraying Ingo. As a matter of fact, it has taken so much out of me I'm exhausted." "Then it's time to stop fighting and just accept that it's meant to be." "It is time," he agrees. And now that he has accepted it, he can't get to Cicely's fast enough. He kisses Tara's cheek. "Thank you for listening and for your insight." She chuckles. "You're welcome. I'd better get going. I have a stop to make on the way to Cicely's." "Good luck," she calls after him. Chapter 34. I'm so nervous I can hardly breathe. I usually anticipate Adagio's arrival, but today is different because I am finally admitting what I feel. I am in love with Adagio St. John. I did not think I would ever fall in love again. I didn't want to, but I have. And now that I have accepted it, the feelings have only increased. The thought of opening up to him scares me a little. Okay, a lot. But I will no longer deny my heart what it wants, what it needs. I won't try to compare my feelings for him to what I felt for Ingo, because my heart only knows one way to love, and that is fully. I pray that Adagio feels the same, and right now I am in agony waiting for him. I could call him, but what would I say? I release a nervous laugh. I've seen him every day for the past 3.5 months, and suddenly I can't come up with anything to say. Get a grip, girl. Standing by the living room window, I wait anxiously. When Adagio finally pulls up, my heart starts pounding so hard I grow lightheaded. It's another moment before he gets out. Moving away from the window, I take a calming breath, my fear growing the closer he gets to the door. Breathe. Just breathe. Adagio. Sitting in the car for another moment, Adagio tries to calm his racing heart and get a grip on his emotions. For years he has wondered if he would ever feel this way about a woman. He hadn't known if it would ever happen, or that he would ever experience emotions so strong. Adagio wants this to work out so badly, and it hurts to think of Cicely rejecting his affections. He needs her with an intensity he never thought possible. Closing his eyes, he takes a deep breath and gets out of the car. When Adagio knocks, I take a moment to compose myself. I'm about to cross a line that both excites and frightens me. Once I take this step, I can never go back, nor do I want to. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Please don't let me ruin this, I murmur before opening the door. Hi. Hello. He looks amazing in a beige polo and jeans, his hair tousled, muscular arms lightly tanned, but then again he always does. And I look big. Shyly dropping my gaze, I move aside, letting him in. You must have been pretty busy this morning, I comment in a steady voice, wondering what took him so long, yet glad that it had. He closes the door. I had some things I needed to take care of. I wanted to spend the whole day with you, and I didn't want anything to interrupt. I hope that's all right. His words catch me by joyful surprise. It's more than all right. My gaze locks intently with his, and I don't try to disguise the longing anymore. But I still have to remind myself to breathe because my heart is racing like crazy. Moving closer, he presses a hand to my cheek, caressing it softly. He has touched me many times, but never like this. Keeping my gaze riveted to his, I soak in the warmth of his hand. His face is so close to mine, I can smell his cologne, and the warmth of his breath on my skin is indescribably intoxicating. I shiver as a heady wave of emotion surges through me. His eyes roam over my face for a moment, and I imagine him taking in my every feature, my brown skin, my full mouth, and my emotion-filled eyes. I hope he can read in them what I have yet to say. What a curiously vulnerable situation I find myself in, longing to know how he really feels, but too afraid to reveal my own heart. His next words change all that. Cicely, your friendship is the most important thing in the world to me. Moving back a little, he takes my hands, lacing his fingers between mine. I've never expected this to happen. This is probably too soon, and out of respect for Ingo, I've tried to wait, but I can no longer keep my feelings hidden. Tightening his fingers slightly, he draws me closer until our bodies are almost touching. I am in love with you, Cicely. Fully absorbing his words, I release a shaky breath, ready to bare my soul. And I am in love with you. Smiling with wonder in his expression, he gently captures my face in his hands, brushing his thumbs over my skin. I marvel at the words and feelings that have just passed between us. Reverently caressing my face, he softly brushes a thumb across my lips before lowering his head and pressing his mouth to mine. Adagio. Adagio's insides quiver at the softness of her lips and the sweetness of her kiss. It is new, yet familiar somehow. As her warm mouth softens under his, anxiously answering his heated affections, he finds that kissing her is so perfect, he wants to cry. He has never experienced so much from a single kiss, and he never will again with anyone but her. Tears slip down my cheeks as I relish the feel of his moist mouth plying mine. His kiss is warm and demanding, producing emotions that stir my very soul. I never imagined feeling so much from a kiss. Moaning softly at the feel of his tongue dancing grazingly over mine, over and over, I circle my arms around his waist, pulling him closer, needing to be wrapped in his warmth. The emotional rush is staggering, and in this moment I know I belong in his arms. The haven of his love is now all that exists. Adagio pulls his lips from mine, and I press my face in the hollow of his neck. Sighing contentedly, he holds me close and I lose myself in his warmth. For a while now, we have denied ourselves emotions that can't be helped by either of us. We've spent so much time together during the past 3.5 months. The feelings that have grown between us were inevitable. Now there is no more denial, only acceptance. Adagio draws back slightly, lifting my chin with his finger. Do you really love me? I really do. You do? Smiling, I nudge him playfully. I do. Slow down. We haven't even gotten to that part yet. Adagio. Laughing, he touches his lips to mine, whispering, I have something to ask you, Amore. Okay. Would you mind if we sat out on the porch swing? Not at all. There is a mild breeze as we step outside. It tousles his already tousled hair, making it look wildly perfect. Taking my hand, he rocks the swing gently. I don't want to be alone anymore, Cicely. Neither do I. I need you in my life more than I have ever needed anything. I want you by my side always. Taking a small black velvet box from his pocket, he places it in my hand. We will have a good life together, he says, opening it. Will you have me, Mrs. Kelly? Will you take my name and share my life? I nod. Yes. With a teary smile, he takes the oval solitaire from the box. The stone is surrounded by tiny emeralds. This was my mother's ring. My father gave it to her, and before she died, she gave it to me, probably hoping I would give it to my future wife. I've never had a desire to give it to anyone until now. Don't ask me why I have it with me, because there really is no answer. I've always taken it with me wherever I've gone, I suppose for luck. Call me crazy. I would call it fate, I whisper. So would I, he says, touching my face. It's very beautiful. I stopped on the way here to get it cleaned and polished a bit. If it doesn't fit, we can have it sized. I gaze momentarily at the ring with its glittering white gold setting. Removing my wedding rings, I put them in the box, staring at them another moment before closing it. I am trading one ring for another, trading the symbol of one man's love for the other. It is odd that it should feel so right. Adagio places the ring on my finger. It's a perfect fit, as if it was made for me. He brings my hand to his lips and then gently draws me against him, wrapping his arms around me. I love you, Cicely, and I love you. As he presses his mouth to mine again, I literally feel his love through his kiss. A familiar warmth flows through me, and I draw back a little. Looking into his eyes, I see that he feels it too. This is right, isn't it? I ask in awe. It is, Amore. Would it be terrible of me to say I am a little afraid? No, because I am too. Pressing a kiss to my forehead, he whispers, God is in control, and we are very blessed to have each other. We are, I agree. Everything will be different now, he breathes. Think we are ready for the change? I'm definitely ready. So am I. He brushes a few flyaway strands of hair back from my face. I've needed you in my life longer than I wanted to admit. It has been hard being so close to you every day, unable to share my feelings. Some moments have been agony because I wanted to tell you so badly, but I was afraid of scaring you away, and I worried about betraying Ingo. But no matter how hard I tried, the longing was always there. I've needed you too, though I didn't want to admit it either. It frightened me to need you so much. There's no need to be afraid anymore. No, I agree. There isn't. So, what should we do now? He asked. It doesn't matter. As long as we're together, anything is fine. He smiles, kissing me lightly. Well, whatever we decide, I think we should at least share our news with Jessica. Where is she, anyway? She went to the boutique. She wasn't really scheduled to go in. I think she just wanted to give us some time alone. She talked to me this morning about not fighting my feelings anymore. She did, huh? Well, remind me to thank her when we see her. I already did, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind hearing it from you. Reaching up, I bury my fingers in his hair, the way I've longed to for a long time. It was the best advice she could have given me. I agree, he says, closing his eyes, leaning into my touch. We keep our arms wrapped around each other. With my head resting against his shoulder, I silently revel in our closeness. Now that I am wearing his ring, I never want to let him go. Cicely? Mm-hmm. Ingo told me about Jessica leaving you the house in her will, and I know how much you love it here. That being the case, once we are married, if you want to stay here, it will be all right. I am warmed by his concern for my feelings. I do love it here, and I always will, but Italy is your home, so it will be my home too. I'll admit it makes me a little nervous to think about moving away, but I will follow you anywhere, Adagio, and wherever we are will be home. He rests his forehead against mine. You mean everything to me, Cicely, he whispers. Everything. And you mean everything to me. His hands slide down to my stomach, pressing gently, and I promise to love this little one like he is my own. Covering his hand with mine, I lightly trace the masculine veins beneath his skin. I know you will. You will be a great dad. Thank you, he says humbly. I will do my best. I owe it to Ingo. A melancholic sadness briefly touches me. Ingo would have been a great dad. He was a great man. Gazing into Adagio's eyes, I touch his face. Now you can do what he can't. It will be a privilege. Falling into a comfortable silence, he continues to caress my stomach, causing the baby to move. Wow, he says, feeling a firm kick. He's a strong one. Maybe he will be a soccer player. He really is active and gives me some pretty strong hard ones. Maybe he will be. Will you teach him? It will be one of the first things on my list to do with him when he's old enough. He lets his hands follow the baby's strong movements for a moment, a while longer before finally lacing his fingers between mine. When do you think you'd like to be married? He asked. Longing to start a life with him, I would marry him today if I could, and it would not be soon enough, but I have to be reasonable and plan. How about a month after the baby is born? It will give me time to prepare and get mine and the baby's things sent ahead of time, and maybe my figure will be halfway back to normal by then. He gives me a warm smile. It will be difficult, but I guess I can hold out that long. His thoughts are transparent, his gaze causing warmth to spread through me because my thoughts are the same. Besides, he adds, it will be enough just to be with you and know that you will be completely and legally mine soon. I feel the same. I caress his face, not able to resist touching him. I love touching him and having him touch me. Looking at me intently, he opens his mouth to say something, then stops. What is it? I ask. Well, I don't know how to say this except to just say it. He twists a lock of my hair around his finger. Cicely, I have never. You will be the first for me, the first and only. I am touched by his need to share this with me. Of course, that fact would have eventually been made known, but I am still amazed and grateful for his moral principles, principles that I once lacked. And you will be my last. I silently study his handsome face for a moment. You know, my mind keeps bringing up the same questions. Why am I so lucky? What have I done to deserve this, to deserve you? He pulls me against him, tightening his embrace, pressing his lips against my brow. I ask myself those same things. What have I done to deserve you? I have no answer, but I know we are meant to be together now. I feel the same. Adagio says nothing more. He doesn't need to, because I know his heart and he knows mine. We are beginning a new chapter in our lives. I can't believe how much everything has changed in a matter of months. The changes have been painful, but the tender mercies have been wondrous. Well, Adagio says, shall we go and share our news with Jessica? Sure, I'm ready whenever you are. He helps me up, immediately pulling me into his arms. Holding his face between my hands, I am freshly amazed at the love I see in his eyes. I am tempted to feel guilty for loving him, but a deeper part of me knows Ingo would not begrudge us of the happiness we've found in each other. Adagio presses his mouth to mine, kissing me passionately, and as the passion of our kiss grows, so does my longing for him. He draws back slowly. I promise to never hurt you, Cicely. I will try to be a good husband, and I know I can never take Ingo's place in your heart, nor would I even try, but I do promise to love and cherish you always. And I promise you the same. My thoughts drift as I contemplate the fact that I am not alone anymore. I will be sharing my life and raising my child with the last person I ever expected to be with this way, and he is perfect for me in every way. When I am silent a little too long, Adagio asks, are you really all right with this, Cicely? Do you think we are moving too fast? I smile, shaking my head. No, I want to be your wife. I was just thinking about how much you have filled the space in my heart, and I hope Ingo truly understands. He does, Angel, he says, brushing a hand against my cheek. This is right. A few weeks ago I was not sure about anything. Today I am sure about everything. Wrapping my arms around his neck, I kiss him again. A sudden kick from the baby interrupts the moment. Okay, little one, he says, rubbing my stomach. I will stop for now, but we are going to pick this up later. As if the baby understands, he makes another small movement, and I chuckle, grimacing slightly. I think he got that. Entering the house to grab my purse, I stop for a moment and rub the ache in my stomach. It soon fades, and I can't stop the grin from spreading across my face. I am happy and in love, and nothing will be the same again. Adagio. Adagio meets Cicely at the bottom of the stairs, taking her hand. Walking out onto the porch, her step slows. She suddenly presses a hand to her stomach, grabbing Adagio's arm with the other. What is it, amore? It takes her a few seconds to answer. It was a contraction. I've been having them on and off for a couple of days now, but not like this one. It takes her Adagio puts his arm around her and waits for the pain to pass. Come, let's go and sit. He walks her into the living room and eases her onto the couch. Sitting down next to her, he lifts her legs, placing them across her lap. Leaning back against the pillows, she releases a deep sigh. Thank you. I think if I can sit here for a moment, I'll be... Before she can finish, another contraction hits, and it is much sharper than the first. Looking at his watch, Adagio starts timing them, just in case it is real labor. When she has another contraction a few minutes later, he says they should head to the hospital. Where's your bag? It's in my bedroom closet on the floor. Locating the small suitcase she packed a couple of weeks ago, he hurries down and sets it by the door, then goes back to Cicely. Can you walk? I think so. As she stands, another contraction hits and she moans, gripping his arm. When the pain passes, he lifts her in his arms and carries her out to the car. Leaning the seat back, he makes her as comfortable as possible. Putting the suitcase in the back seat, he quickly gets in and heads up to the hospital. Chapter 35. Adagio reaches for my hand, and I squeeze as another pain comes. "It's going to be okay, baby." His voice is soft. Nodding, I concentrate on breathing deeply, and it helps to make the pain a little more bearable. Beads of perspiration cover my forehead. At the squeeze of my hand, I open my eyes, taking in the worried look on his face. "I'm okay, my love." He smiles a little, kissing my hand. "I love you." "I love you too, and I'm so glad you're here with me." Adagio's relief is audible as we approach the hospital a few minutes later. He pulls up to the emergency entrance and parks the car. Running in and grabbing a wheelchair, he is soon back and wheels me inside where they direct us to labor and delivery. The pain is so intense I can hardly think. My water breaks and the nurse calls my midwife. When Judy arrives, Adagio waits in the hall while she checks me. When he returns, she tells us it won't be long. She is also surprised at how fast my labor is progressing, with it being my first baby. Adagio sits on the edge of the bed, holding my hand. With each contraction, I grip his hand so hard I am sure there will be bruises. He kisses me, brushing the hair back from my face. Another contraction comes and I breathe through it, never taking my eyes from his. His presence sustains me, and his comforting strength makes me love him even more. When Judy tells us it is time, Adagio moves to leave, and I tighten my grip on his hand. "Don't go. Stay with me. Please." "Are you sure?" I nod, breathing through another contraction. He stays at the head of the bed with me, whispering words of comfort against my ear as I begin the stage of pushing. I latch on to his added strength with each breath I take and each contraction I push through. Then our son is born, and neither of us can hold back the tears. Relaxing against the inclined bed with my face pressed against Adagio's, my thoughts shift to Ingo, and I try to imagine his joy at the moment, wondering if it is anything close to mine. I will forever be grateful for the part of himself he left behind. "You did it, Cicely," Judy says, squeezing my hand. I smile, relief flowing through me. "Is he okay?" "He's absolutely beautiful and perfect." The nurse wraps the baby in a blanket and places him in my arms. Without even weighing him, I can tell he's 8 pounds. Not bad for being a week early. "He's so beautiful," Adagio says, caressing my soft cheek. "He is," I tearfully agree. "So, what's the little guy's name going to be?" Meeting Adagio's loving gaze, I smile. "Ingo's Kelly St. John." Adagio and I made the decision on the way to the hospital. In our hearts, we know there can be no other name. "St. John?" Judy questions. "Adagio and I are getting married. He will be Ingo's father." "Congratulations to you both." There are tears in Judy's eyes. "Thank you," Adagio says, kissing my lips softly. "I am a very blessed man." "Amen to that," Judy says with a smile. Adagio. While Cicely is changed and settled, Judy sends Adagio down to the nursery to bathe Ingo. He then takes a moment to call Jessica at the boutique. He tells her about their engagement, and when he announces they now have a son, he has to hold the phone away from his ears. Jessica shares the news with the women in the shop, and they all cheer. Entering Cicely's room, he pushes a small bed with a sleeping baby inside, taking a moment to silently gaze at the beautiful face of the woman he loves. Lifting little Ingo from the bed, he cradles him, marveling at the miracle of his new life. "Amore," he says softly. Cicely opens her eyes. Her smile is serene. "Our son wants to be with his mama." He places the sleeping infant in her arms. She slides over on the bed, and Adagio gently lay back beside her. Cicely presses her nose against Ingo's cheek, inhaling the scent of his soft skin. "He is so perfect." "He is," Adagio caresses the tiny fingers. He is a miracle. Life is a miracle. I'm so happy, Adagio, and having you with me means so much. I will always be here for you. Touching her face, he marvels anew that she is really going to be his. The only thing that will make everything complete is becoming your wife. His smile is warm. I look forward to that day more than anything. Kissing her tenderly, he silently thanks God for helping Cicely get through the delivery and blessing them both with this precious gift.